Hello, I'm Meganova, and this is Pillow Talk, the series where I talk about TV shows or movies that I have recently finished. And I'm sorry that this one is coming so late. Actually, I did finish this yesterday, but I kind of got distracted and ended up falling asleep before I could make a video on it. So I'm doing it now instead. So yeah, I finished up season 2 of Agent Carter, and overall it was pretty good. And now I understand why people are so pissed that they canceled it, that it didn't get that season 3, because it ends on a massive fucking cliffhanger. Also, there's gonna be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't watched it, go watch it first, or if you don't care about that, keep watching, I guess. So yeah, a thing I didn't mention in my first video is that I love these kind of like period pieces where you see, like, in this case it's the 40s, but whenever you see, like, you have this setting that is in like a at least somewhat realistic depiction of history. Like, I know this is obviously in the Marvel universe, so it's not gonna be actually realistic, but you know, in terms of how the society seems to work overall and such. Um, but but with all the like fancy technological stuff they have, it kind of feels like a sort of like steampunk adventure. Just it's with lasers and stuff in the 40s instead of steam inventions in the 1800s, but you know, details. So I thought that was a lot of fun. That was one of the aspects of this show I really enjoyed. And probably my favorite character in the show is Jarvis, or Edmund Jarvis, because in season 2 we're finally introduced to his wife, and the one thing I especially enjoyed about those two is, even though Jarvis works alongside Peggy a lot, and obviously is very worried about her when she's having problems and such, his wife is never at any point jealous. Like, she never suspects him of wanting to cheat on her with Peggy. And and the reason I really like that is because it so often happens in these kinds of shows that, oh, a man and a woman are working together a lot, of course there's gonna be some sexual tension or something, but no. There's never any sexual tension between her and Jarvis at any point. And that just kind of makes me happy. Like, it's a cliche that I really hate, and I'm glad that they didn't do it. Like, sure, she does have some romantic things with some other male characters in the show, but at least there it feels a bit more organic and natural. And it made more sense. So and even when in one scene where Jarvis and Peggy, they are like sparring with each other, where Peggy just got Jarvis down, and apparently he has this really good technique for when he's down, he's really good at getting the other person down. What happens here is that Peggy ends up on her back and Jarvis is on top of her, and it kinda looks sorta suggestive. And then his wife comes in and kinda surprises him, and they just look up at her, and she has basically no reaction. The only thing that she's saying is just, oh yeah, he also does that with me whenever I'm sparring with him. And that's it. Nothing that she is like suspecting that anything lewd was gonna go on or anything. That's just she basically the trust between those two is just wonderful. It's one of the best parts of the show, in my opinion. Like, I just fucking love it because we see too often that relationships are ruined because of these kinds of things. But that actually also does kind of happen, which I'm a bit split on because Sosa, the guy with the limp from the first season. Don't think I mentioned him in my first episode. I didn't really mention a lot of characters, I think. But Sosa, he has now become chief of the SSR in California. I think it was. Pretty sure it was. Yeah, it was in Los Angeles, I think. I'm pretty sure they went to Los Angeles. Yeah, they were talking about Hollywood and stuff. So, yeah, they were in LA. Because a new case comes up there and stuff happens. And there he has found a new girlfriend. They even got engaged. And he finds this his fiance is this really sweet nurse, and her and Peggy became pretty good friends actually. But because a thing happened where Peggy, she got injured, and they had to take her to Sosa's house, or Sosa and his fiance's house, because they didn't trust, like, hospitals and stuff, because they know pretty much the entire fucking city is in the hand of this council, who apparently controls everything. Like, they're basically the Illuminati. Like, it's this little group of powerful men who basically just run everything. So they wouldn't want to go to the hospital because they were afraid that they might end up with a doctor who's in the pocket of one of those, and they would just end up killing her. And because of the way Sosa acted around Peggy, that then led his fiance to be like, well, it's pretty obvious that you still like her. Like, I can see that you're still having, like, a thing for her. So, yeah, that kinda ended up being a bust. That was not great. And I'm just sad that it happened, because, I mean, she did kind of find another love interest in this doctor guy. Why can't I remember his name now? Dr. Wilkes, who is this, scientist in Isodyne, where, which is owned by the main villain of this season, what is it? Something Frost. Why can't I remember her first name now? It was something Frost. I'll remember her first name later, probably. And the main thing in this season is about this thing called Zero Matter. That apparently is like this kind of substance from another dimension, and we never really find out what is up with this other dimension and this dimensional rift and shit. Which I really wish they would. Like, or maybe they would have if the ABC hadn't been dickheads and cancelled the show. Still mad about, especially because... Yeah, also, Jack Thompson. I was so mixed on him. Like, I mean, yeah, he'd always been kind of a dick, even in since season 1. But he seemed like he had gotten some more development through season 2. But then he starts just being a complete dick and starts conspiring with one of the guys from the council. Because he's like the head of the FBI. And he wants to, climb the social ladder. He wants to be part of the council and shit. Um, and I just never really knew where I had him, but I guess that could probably be attributed to good writing on his part, because it seemed like he was constantly trying to like manipulate things. He was trying to always like get the upper hand. He was like he never seemed like he was genuine. Like he always seemed like he had like ulterior motives. Whenever he said anything, I was never sure if I could actually trust him. But then again, that's kind of an interesting character, so I guess I can't really hate him. Like, it was interesting to see, at least, I guess. But, yeah. So, yeah, you never really knew where you had him. He constantly flip-flopped with what he was saying and doing. And that, at times, it was a bit annoying, but, yeah, it was interesting, I guess. Oh yeah, episode 9. Specifically episode 9. The beginning, like the first 5 minutes of that episode, was a complete mind trip. And it, like, to borrow from the nostalgia check, it kind of felt like a big-lipped alligator moment. Like one of those moments that is just like completely out there, but afterwards just never mentioned again, and it had no bearing on anything at all. It's basically this like 40s 50s stage musical in Peggy's head because she had been knocked out, and I just, it was so weird. Like, I mean, okay, sure, I guess there was some kind of point to it. Like, it kind of showed how she felt about some of the main characters. But also, not really. Like, it was really weird. Like, I can't even... any explanation I would give wouldn't do it justice. But I fucking loved it. I mean, I've always been, like, a big fan of surrealism. That's why my favorite part of any Disney movie ever has always been the pink elephant segment in Dumbo. Even as a kid, even when I was like 5 years old, whenever I would get to that part, I would always rewind the tape like 5 times or whatever to hear it, to watch it again, because I just fucking loved that sequence. It's my absolute favorite sequence in any Disney movie ever. It's just perfect. So, what else should I get into? Like, yeah, I said I was gonna be spoiling, but I'm not gonna be spoiling like everything. I still want some things to be out there in case you decided to watch it, to watch my video, but still want to watch the show afterwards. But yeah, Frost, she gets infected with this zero matter, and she starts developing these powers where she can basically, like, absorb people into her. And it's pretty scary, actually, and it gets pretty violent. But yeah, still mad they didn't make a season 2. Or season 3. This was season 2. I'm an idiot, I guess. Yeah, I'm not sure I have that much more to say about this season, actually. Like, the rest that I would have to say would just be completely spoiling everything, and I still want some things to be there for you to discover. And, well, I mean, if you've already watched it, I mean, I've given my opinion on most of the things anyways. Overall, I liked it. There were parts here and there that I wasn't necessarily a big fan of, but overall, I'd give this season like maybe a strong 8 out of 10, a small 9 out of 10, somewhere in between. Like it'll probably be like an 8.5 or something like that. I'm not sure. I don't want to give out ratings like this. I don't really think they matter that much, but you know. So yeah, that's most of my thoughts on Agent Carter season 2. If you want to give your opinions, just leave a comment and I will read it and maybe I will even reply to it. So yeah, please like, comment, subscribe, all that shit. And I have all my social medias in the description if you want to follow me on anything. And I will see you out on the high seas. Yarr!